Welcome. Wasn't that amazing? Isn't that cosmic? I'm sorry. I'm just I'm just transcending right now. I'm just filled with so much gratitude and love for each one of you guys, for everybody who's tuned in, who's adding to the transcendence, who's adding to the love, and for all our presenters. And speaking of presenters, I have the unique honor to introduce our next presenter. Our next presenter is a very dear friend of mine. She is a mentor. And above all, her name is Marilyn Harper, and she's a world renowned channeler where she goes by Divine Link. She's a spiritual counselor who has gone all around the world helping people find their joy, learn how they are possible, and to live in their highest good and highest joy. She channels a being called Adironnda from the 17th dimension, who's a spokesperson for the divine council, which she also channels and brings through divine messages, as well as Ascended Master. So without further ado, it is my great honor, privilege, and great love to introduce Marilyn Harper.
Today, and I know life is an adventure, and it seems then we get out of bed and see what the day holds and flows for us. So thank you very much. I really appreciate your time and your effort of putting together this summit. It is an amazing summit, and will the first of many, I am sure. So I just wondered exactly, um, in teaching people to channel, and I wanted to make sure that we were, um, honoring your time as well as mine. And with that energy of channeling, sometimes channeling can go way, way out of the norm. And sometimes channeling can be exactly what a speaker does or a teacher does when asked a question, and they just bring in an answer or two that they think, well, where did that come from? I know when I'm working on the computer, I try to channel Steve Jobs to help me through the technology. And so channeling can really be used in a really wide variety of ways. It's not just for the woo woo person or the esoteric. It can be used in painting and writing and creating. A friend of mine makes pottery, and she says that she channels the form and colors that she's to use at the potter's wheel. So it can truly be used in a multitude of ways. So not to think that it's only one way of channeling, which is really what I teach. We do have three different channeling courses. One is the Channeler's Method, and that's the newest course. And that Channeler's Method is 50. Took 2 years in the making. It was 51 segments, and it really goes through the basics, the history, the styles, getting rid of your fear, helping you to trust, and then finally channeling. And we also have the live 2-day How to Channel Even If You Think You Can't course, which is so much fun and so interactive. And everybody channels by the end of the second day, guaranteed. And then we have the Channelers Academy. I have encountered wonderful Samuel through the Channelers Academy, and of course, the How to Channel Even If You Think You Can't. I think that was before COVID, 2018 or 19. And it was quite, I think 19. It was quite fun encountering uh, Samuel, the angelic knight, and we have just formed a good friendship over the past couple of years. So, Samuel, what do you think your folks would like to know a little bit about how I do things or what I do, or
I
what?
I I th- I think for those who, as you say, different people on different levels of spirituality. So I think the common ground would be one, how do you channel? And two, for those who think channeling is, stepping aside their consciousness and letting divine beings, how they can recognize that the divine is talking to them in their way, even, that's their intuition and things. And so how they can bring that innately even before they join your programs to be a proficient channeler.
Well, it's so interesting because there are specific skills that would be valuable to develop if you are interested in channeling your higher self, or as a profession, the higher self of someone else. And even channeling, if you're a writer, channeling whoever your favorite writer is so you can write a better book or story or article or something. So in learning to channel, I think it's really important to get the basics down. When I began, I didn't really think that I was going to be a channel. That was not my plan at all. My plan was to really be all that I am. I didn't even quite know what that meant in the beginning. I just kind of woke up after a transformational experience, some would call a walk in. And then I started on the spiritual path. And a few months into that spiritual path, someone introduced me into guided writing. They called it automatic writing or inspired writing, but I don't think I don't go with the term automatic writing, because your hand doesn't really move on its own, and it's not inspired because you can it is kind of inspired by your guidance, but to me guided writing is a much more appropriate term. And that's where you connect with your own guidance system, and then you kind of take dictation for what they say. You may actually hear words, or you may actually sense words, but not actually hear them. But the sensation is there, so you write them down. Or you may sense colors, or feelings, or whatever it is. I actually created a recording, messages from your soul, that is the actual meditation that I used when I started doing guided writing. And guided writing is and meditation is really a foundation of learning to step aside as a messenger. Adironnda, who is, as Samuel said, from the 17th dimension, and is the spokes being for a council of 12 or more archangels and ascended masters that have walked the earth. And what I found was in the guided writing, and it's not the case with everyone, everyone is different, but in my guided writing, my handwriting would change, and the feeling that would come through would shift. So it was very clear to me that it wasn't my ego or my imagination. Now, when my imagination or my ego started to step in, I would notice a difference in my handwriting, and in the way that it was stated as well. But, my guided writing was really a bit like a how to manual. um, Someone, I don't even remember who, said, well, if you have a question, write a question at the top of the page and then go into meditation and see what's said. And so I did that every day. Even with my business, at that point, I was selling advertising for a country western radio station, and in Springfield, Missouri. And I remember I would write at the top of my page, what clients shall I call on today? And you think, now, why would spirit or your higher self even care what client you called on that day? However, they want to support you any way they can. And this was my support. And it also proved to me that it was real. Um, and at first, I didn't believe what was being said. So in my guided writing, I asked for confirmation, a logical confirmation that my logical brain could actually understand. And in my guided writing, they said a feather. So I said, "You mean you'll show me a feather?" And that shows me that I'm on the right path and I'm going where I need to go. And so I saw several feathers in that day for confirmation in odd places. And then when I would go into my client's office, if they said, "Call on such and such a client," or "Call on the person, the business whose logo is the tree," or something like that, then I would go, sometimes it was like a mystery, but, or a scavenger hunt. And yeah, that was very interesting. But I would always see a feather either on my way into their office, or they would have, um, you know, a quill feather that someone had given them, or a picture of a feather on the wall that was new, something that would tell me that I was in the right spot at the right time. And I was surprised that my guided writing, which was supposed to be, "Ooh, your higher self coming in to talk to you," that they would care that about my livelihood of selling advertising. So that formed that bond of trust. And I said, if I was upset about something, or if someone had hurt my feelings or something, then I would ask about that in my guided writing. And that's when I learned more about our wonderful ego, and how to distinguish the difference between when your ego is reacting to something and when you're responding from the place or position of your higher self. And that was a really valuable lesson. It was, kind of takes, the thing in teaching people to channel, and I've done it now for many years, 7 years, I think, um, 8 years, I don't remember. But anyway, in teaching people to channel, one of the most challenging things is to help them learn to step their ego aside, which the ego is there to doubt everything that's being said, or the ego is there to bolster your confidence in such a way that, "Oh, well, you're here to be leader of the planet," and some people have said that, and that when they do, that's really their ego talking. And it's like in teaching people to channel, to learn to distinguish the difference between your imagination, which has one frequency, that as you're imagining things. In fact, this is an exercise we do in the channeler's method. Actually, we do it in the how to channel even if you think you can't class, which I've got 3 coming up this year, one in Branson, Missouri, one in Sacramento, and one in Dallas, Texas. And to teach you to feel that frequency of your imagination, which is one level and one way that your intuition is kind of working, and then to feel uh, what it feels like when you are bringing in a message from a higher source. They're a different energy. And once you distinguish between those energies, then you're on the way to clarifying your own channeling ability. I also teach people how to distinguish between their imagination and their intuition, because intuition and channeling is very closely related. And the intuition actually can start with your imagination, but the intuition sort of kicks in, and we do exercises to help people learn when their intuition sort of kicks in, and when they are getting those intuitive messages, and when it's their imagination, and when they can trust it, and when they cannot trust it because it's coming from the level of your ego. um, and it's so interesting. We do all kinds of exercises to do that. But if I could give your listeners just one technique that they can practice right now and do right now in their own life to help them distinguish between their imagination, their intuition, their guidance system, and their ego, Is that all right, Samuel?
Absolutely, absolutely. I had some follow-up, but absolutely. Um, yes, definitely, definitely speak to that. One of the things I did want to kind of touch on was your consistency when you started to go deeper into your activating who you are. You ask, source, to be all that you can be. And when you were introduced to guided writing, what was interesting to me is that you kind of gave it task. You kind of said to says, it's not that I'm doubting, but show me. And then through that relationship, but what was unique was that you were being consistent in following up. You would ask, you would get a feeling, and then you would go out and look for it. But yes, definitely, please continue to give us that tool on how we can differentiate between ego, imagination, and then what is intuition and absolutely divine messages coming through. And
Well,
then the different types of uh, clairvoyancy, you know.
absolutely. With the energy of guided writing, and to really trust that information, that's the trick. That's the key. That's why I asked for a sign to make it so I can understand what's real and what's not. Um, and in that, uh, you know, it was so interesting. In my guided writing, they asked me to keep a little journal, a pocket journal, and every time I had an intuitive thought or a feeling, or thought, well, I'll call upon somebody or this person, or, oh, I need to go to the grocery store right now all of a sudden, or a synchronistic moment, they said to jot that down. And so I did. And then they asked me to go back and sort of analyze what it felt like before or at the time of getting that intuitive message of, okay, get stop calling on clients when you're advertising, and stop by the grocery store to get a bottle of water or whatever right now. Okay. And then when I went to the grocery store, I would run into a friend that we grew up together, that she had just recently moved to Springfield, and we became great friends again, even though I had no idea she was in town. So that would be an intuitive moment where I was guided to stop my path of calling on clients, go to the grocery store, get a bottle of water, and then I saw my friend. So then I jotted that down. Then to go back later on that day and really think about, what did it feel like when, or where did I hear words? Did I see a vision of a grocery store? Did I just suddenly get very thirsty? What was the tip off? And for me, there are several different types of psychics, or several different clairs, as they call them: clairvoyance, clairaudio, claircognizant, clair. We talk about those in the channeler's method, in the channelers and how the channel class. But I actually heard, um, go to the grocery store now and get a bottle of water. And it was persistent. I heard it two or three times, and it was like, no, go now. And so, um, and then, that happened several times. And each time I had like a synchronistic moment, like, oh, I would be driving home, and all of a sudden I decided, well, I think I'll take a different route home from work. And so I would then jot that down. And I discovered, and I would recommend, this is a tip that you all can do, is keep that little pocket journal when you have those synchronistic moments, like changing your pathway home from work or whatever. And then I realized that when I heard words, that those words really came from a very specific place that was just about the size of a quarter in the back of my head. And I would hear on the right side of my brain, and I would hear, don't set up your table, you're not going to stay at this event. Or go to the grocery store now, or it's time to go to Hallmark cards. And then something synchronistically would happen at Hallmark cards, or I would find out that there was the synchronistic moments. Then I realized that that energy, that feeling, came across my shoulders, and that energy, and then came through that same spot in my head. And I actually installed a when I was doing my guided writing, I installed a tuning fork that would vibrate with yes. And in installing the tuning fork that would vibrate with yes, I asked that every time I would ask a question, if the answer was yes, that my shoulders would vibrate. And so if I was saying, well, should I go a different route home from work? Well, the vibration would be there with yes, which that then connected me with my intuition. Uh, and so, or the the guidance of what I was to do. And that awareness really helped me with the energy and being able to distinguish that frequency and being able to distinguish that intention. Um, and you can tell that this is a live thing because somebody's getting ready to come into my house and I'm going to close my door.
Okay.
So it's kind of like um, the universe is in support of you. The universe wants you to be in connection with them. And as they do, um, it's a matter of understanding. And believe it or not, when your ego is in charge and making decisions, that energy also comes from a very specific spot in your body. And once you identify that feeling, when you catch yourself in egoic moments, um, which are not fun. But when you catch yourself, then start analyzing what that feels like. And then when I started channeling, it helped me to trust that energy because when I started channeling, it was it was like a direct line, a direct input um, from a very similar place in my head, and I didn't ever hear words. I i it just was direct. I in like some channels, as your people become more and more aware of channeling and the different styles, different techniques, some channels are conscious channels. Lee Carroll, who channels Cryon, is a conscious channel. He remembers everything, and he actually hears things and then repeats them. And in that energy, it comes through a little more clearly. In my world, I don't hear anything. I hear my intuition, but I don't hear Adironnda and then repeat what's being said, or Master Yeshua or Jesus or Buddha or Mother Mary or whoever from the council is speaking. I don't hear the words, but it is like a direct line. So there's no filter there, which is a bit unnerving sometimes. But the filter, and I ask in the beginning when I began channeling, I asked to have my conscious self completely stepped aside and asked to have my higher self or Adironnda or the council to come through as clearly and concisely as possible. And in that sort of capacity, it was really a matter of total trust. And um, I think I learned that in starting with my guided writing is that I totally trusted the information that came through in my guided writing because I could tell, physically tell by the look of it and by the feel of it, when it was my imagination was saying, "Oh, Marilyn, you're so wonderful." And dearly beloved, let us share with you what we have to share with you today. And
Right.
so that energy is so vastly different. And that's one of the things I teach is how you can recognize that information and then how to utilize that for your own higher self, for your own highest good, and for the highest good of all concerned. Uh, does that help? Uh, so when you catch yourself in that moment of intuition or that moment of being guided, um, uh, that's what you when you start analyzing that energy. And really, Samuel, Ray's hot. Everyone on the planet has to wake up. You know, we hear so much about, well, I don't know how to talk to my family, or I don't know how to talk to my friends and let them know what I'm doing because I am all woo woo and they're not. Well, you know, they still get to wake up as well. And I know that it's possible. Uh, my mother, contra lover, she asked uh, my church that I grew up in. I haven't been there since I was 20. Um, but she asked if I would, they had a minister, a change of ministers, and they wanted me to be an interim minister. And she asked if I would speak at a very traditional Disciples of Christ Christian church. And I thought, ah, but I I channeled the message, although it didn't look like I was channeling. My mother did notice that sometimes my eyes would get very blue when I was speaking because I've heard that sometimes my eyes kind of change color when I channel. And um, and then she said, you know, you have a way of speaking that compels people to listen, and you bring them messages for their soul. And it's like, that is a great way to describe to anyone what it is that I do. That I I help people live a better life, live a happier life, um, by finding out who they are themselves. And you know, I believe that the world has to wake up. And this is one way that your audience can do that, is to be aware of when spirit is actually communicating and when your ego is communicating. Does that make sense?
Absolutely makes sense, and thank you. And you covered the entire gambit. You talked about noticing and taking note of the sensitivity of your body. So that's the first integration in body, is feeling the difference of when you would get a synchronicity and it would work out and what that felt like. And then also when ego would kind of bolster itself and what that felt like, and carrying a notebook. So for those, everyone listening, start making mental checks, or go ahead and carry a notebook and really dive into that. And then the spirit, feeling what that, and developing that relationship. And I love, as you went on with your communication, um the deeper you trusted, and the deeper you expanded in love. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. So yeah, that was good. Ray Sahat, do you want to ask a question before we might get a channel from the Great Council of Light? Something to add?
That was absolutely on point. I love the idea of writing in the journal, because what you write, you invite, and when you there's a part of the brain called the RAS, the reticular activating system. It determines what you notice. So when you write things down, it tells you like, oh, this is important. So you're calling in more synchronicities and more divine guidance by doing that. So for everyone watching, that was a golden nugget. Definitely get you a little pocketbook and write these synchronicities down.
And it really brings attention and awareness to those minute details in our lives that we really don't bring awareness to. And it really brings that cognization into every aspect of what we're doing in our life. I love that.
Absolutely.
You know, and it can be so simple. I mean, maybe you're heading out to the grocery store or something, or the market, and you think, oh, I'm forgetting something, and you walk back in and think, well, I guess I'll take this pad of paper, not thinking twice about it. But you take a little pad of paper, and then when you get in line at the grocery store, someone in the line is saying, oh, I need some paper to write things down with, and then you hand them a piece of paper. And those kinds of synchronistic moments are a part of this whole channeling energy. So, and that would be something that you would keep track of, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
As they said in
Absolutely.
unison. I love that.
First synchronicity. Let me write that down.
Yes,
We
yes.
are in alignment.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes, you are.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, Marilyn, you've definitely guided us through beginning stages of what it is to talk to your innate and step into the more and listen to that. And so, if you'd like, we would abundantly invite Adironnda, the Ascended Masters, all of them, and to come in and share a beautiful message. And I see
I would
they're
be
here.
honored. I would be honored. And normally I teach you a couple of different ways to get out of the way. And so I'm just going to do it on the inside. And so I'll take a few breaths and do my little thing on the inside. And then theoretically, hopefully, Adironnda will then be present. I'm going to take a sip of water. This isn't wine. This is water. Adironnda told us years ago to drink out of cobalt blue bottles. So I do. We actually sell them now. So it is good day to you, huh? Ho, ho, ho. So very good to see you, your lightness, each of you, your brightness, your radiance as it is coming round about this world. You are indeed wrapping the planet with love and with new information. The reticular therapy area of your brain that says this is important. That is very important information. Write that down. And in that energy, know that you are indeed helping individuals integrate. You are indeed, that is what you are doing, yes? The Integrator Summit. You are integrating body, mind, soul, spirit into the energy and the frequency of love. And as you know, each one of you carries a different frequency, a different energy, and together it forms a beautiful uh, tapestry. Like a tapestry that hangs on the wall, and it is all different colors and forming a beautiful picture of the world, the galaxy, if I could say, if the galaxy in the energy of that world. And see, you can follow one thread through or another thread through and realize that those little threads make up the galaxy within itself. And you each are a part of the interweaving of that image. Almost like an orchestra with all the different instruments that when they play by themselves, they are one thing, but when they all come together, you have difficulty in distinguishing the different sounds of the orchestra, and one may lead out and one may step back, but that is what you are creating, is that integrated orchestra for all of humanity. And it is a powerful energy that we see that each of you are instilling in this energy. You understand what we say? And with that energy, we felt a nod of the head, so that we feel that we didn't hear anything, but we feel that that was a yes. Huh? So in that energy, know that each person that is here listening to this, or each person that listens to it or watches it in the future, is a part of that orchestration. You each have a divine messenger and a divine mission that is a part of the entire tapestry. And it is time that you see, sense, feel, hear, know your purpose. You see, your purpose. We know that people ask us all of the time, well, what is my purpose in life? What is my mission? What is my destiny? Those are three distinct questions. Your purpose in life is truly to find your joy and then live it. Whatever makes your heart sing, whatever brings you joy. If being a professional channel or helping people discover who they are brings you joy, then do that. And the universe will indeed support you as long as you treat it as though it is a business. If singing brings you joy, then do that. If painting or creating something brings you joy, then do that. Because your joy is intertwined with your destiny. Your destiny is how you express that joy. And your mission is how you utilize that joy, living your destiny and being of service to humanity. You see, if you are of service to all of humanity, then you will be supported by the universe. You will be supported by those who are around you. You understand that so many times we see people that they want to quit their day job and do this or that or run a healing business or whatever, but the reason is because they dislike their day job so much. Well, it is our feeling that as you are building your business from part-time into full-time, your personal business, that you still get the opportunity to see what it is that you love about your day job, because that love frequency in your day job, if that is what you have, that will help release you from that contractual agreement. And it is very important that you find the good in all relationships, in all frequencies, in all energies. And that releases you from that contractual agreement is the simplest way to describe that. You see what we say? And in that energy, know that you are that next evolutionary step. You are stepping into a world that they know what the inner workings of the brain is. They know, and science has proven, up to 13 or 15 different dimensional realms. They know that science is beginning to expand into the esoteric world, to know that you can heal with intention. You can heal with visualization. You can connect to beings that are no longer living in this dimension. You can bring in their words or their wisdom in ways that they were not able to when they were living here on this planet. You can connect to galactic beings, and science is beginning to prove that in that energy. And that is the exciting thing, that you, dearest Samuel, dearest Ray, dearest Sahat, and all of the people that are here watching or listening now or in the future, that energy is shifting the consciousness of this planet. And it is shifting it more rapidly now than it was, say, 10 years ago or 20 years ago. When we began this journey in 1999, or actually we began in 1998, trying to get the vessel Marilyn's attention, but she was a bit stubborn and did not pay much attention to us until we got a little stronger in our energy. And you see, then there was maybe, 18 to 20% of the planet that were what we would call a light plurker. Plurk is play plus work equals plurk. A light plurker instead of a light worker. No one wants to work, right? And so we have a light plurker. And then over the next 15, 18 years, it increased by 5 to 7%. So 2 years ago, it was like 24%. Now, things are increasing so rapidly because of people like you. Now, things are shifting so vibrationally that we are already at 27% and 26%. It is sort of fluctuating between the two of light pluggers, people that are awake, people that are aware, people that will not stand for political injustice, and they shift the consciousness of the planet. They will not stand for being controlled by a governmental body that is not acting in the integrity of its people. And so they push, they don't push back, but they nudge. They nudge the energy and hold the enlightenment of that frequency of love. That is what is changing the galaxy that you are living in. And it is so, so powerful to first not approach a situation with negativity. Every time you hear yourself complaining about, oh, this is happening, and oh, that is happening, and oh, woe is me, and oh, those people over there. Well, when you point to those people over there, you've got three fingers pointing back at you. So you are a part of the problem just by the complaint. And being a part of the problem is a challenge. Being a part of that problem is the energy that is no longer important for you to accommodate. Instead, be a part of the solution. The 4 levels of consciousness goes from being the victim, the world is happening to me, being the creator, or the world is happening because of something that I'm doing, or the world is happening all around me, being the conscious one of the world that is shifting because of something that I am accommodating, and then being the service. And that is the frequency that the light clerkers are accommodating now, is being that service presenter, being that energy. You can go all into the galactics and the woo-woo folks and the people that are in all of the world and all of the different galaxies and all of the energies. But you're on vacation right now on this planet. So we would ask you to be the difference that you wish to see. And in that difference, dearest beings of light, you know that you have an energy, a burning desire to make a difference on this planet. So whatever your passion is, whatever your feeling is, whatever makes your heart sing, that is what you are to do. And to know that you will be divinely supported by doing that. Now, understand that money does not fall out of the sky necessarily. It is possible, but not always. But you follow the next step, follow the lead. And when someone offers you something, you do not say, oh, no, I'm not ready for that. If it is being offered, you say yes. You understand what we say? You are the next generation. You are the ones we came for. the reason we are here is to help you shift the consciousness of this planet so as it is transformed into the fifth dimension. It is already in the fifth dimension, but not everyone is acknowledging that. So as this planet is transformed, that the planet is inhabited and becomes the light energy that it was destined to be. So we honor you. We honor each of you for your gift, for your quest, for saying yes to the universe and say, yes, we will do this summit. Yes, we will do this. We don't know how, but we're going to do it anyway. So understand that you each are a part of that energy. And for that we are grateful. Oh, dearest beings of light, we see you. We know you. We love you so much. We are you. And we bid you namaste. Namaste. Back, kind of.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Wasn't that majestic? That was just simply divinely sublime. Thank you so much, so much. You know, Adironnda calls you the vessel, and that is truly what you are. You are an infinite vessel of love reflected into our world and universe. And I thank you. Thank you for saying yes, Marilyn.
Absolutely. So, yes, I would love to share a little bit of information about our How to Channel, even if you think you can't. It's coming up March 25th and 26th in Branson, Missouri, July 22nd and 23rd in Sacramento, and October 28th and 29th this year in Dallas, Texas. That everybody that channels, everybody that comes in, no matter what level they're at, they move to the next level. Whether they're a professional channel or they don't even know what channeling is, they will still move to the next level, and everyone channels by the end of the day. And we're offering a private knee to knee, heart to heart with Adironnda on that Saturday night of those events. We haven't done that in probably 10 years, but we were guided by Adironnda to bring that back for the How to Channel classes. So for the group, we offer a special knee to knee where people come up and we kind of go heart to heart with Adironnda, which is pretty cool. And we also have the channeler's method. If it's not possible for you, I know there's people all over the world seeing this. So if it's not possible for you to come to the US during those times, the channeler's method is a step-by-step approach to channeling. And I'm sure these wonderful Ray and Sahat and Samuel will drop the links in. And if you have any questions, just connect us through Adironnda.com. That's ADIRONNDA.com. And thank you so much for having me on as a guest today. I just love you all so much, and I appreciate you, and it's really spectacular work that you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you. The honor is ours. We love you. We love you dearly. Thank you, Marilyn.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Marilyn and Adironnda, for dropping those cosmic gems.
Absolutely. That was so beautiful. So just drop some love for Marilyn Harper and Adironnda in the chat. One of my favorite parts is when she said that we are here to find the greatest joy and live it. That is your job. That is all you are required to do here on this planet, is to live in that joy, right? She could not join us live, so we had to record this like 2 days ago and post it for you. She just got back from the Channelers Retreat, which was absolutely amazing from her mouth. So we honor you and we thank you, Marilyn, for blessing us with that beautiful message. And thank you, Adironnda.